the biggest song in boxing. Jake Davis is joining the beat of the game. His Miami resident hip-hop star is the Ruby Road.
And the talent difference, the experience difference, we understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo.
I thought it was 190. That's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him. Yes. He recognizes that he's too big for him.
The face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis on Netflix Uncut quickly turned intense, capturing everyone's attention. The atmosphere was electric as Tank suddenly shoved Jake during the Staredown, proving this rivalry carries real emotion, not just promotion. Both fighters exchanged heated words, their faces filled with confidence, tension, and defiance. Fans immediately noticed the striking size difference, with Tank appearing much smaller next to Jake. Some viewers labeled it unfair, calling the matchup a mismatch, while others defended Tank's chances, arguing that raw power and timing can overcome size. The brief encounter perfectly set the tone for what promises to be a fiery showdown.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm gonna fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Oh, you pay me?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Teddy Atlas, the legendary boxing trainer and analyst renowned for his brutally honest takes, broke down the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis with his trademark precision. The first thing he highlighted was the glaring size difference. Not just noticeable but staggering. Atlas remarked that Jake seemed to tower over Tank, joking that Davis might need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin. While Atlas has always emphasized that boxing is built on skill, discipline, and heart, he reminded viewers that physical dimensions become impossible to ignore when the gap is this extreme. To illustrate his point, he compared it to Canelo Alvarez moving up in weight to face Terence Crawford, a matchup that still looked naturally balanced. In contrast, the Jake Paul vs. Davis showdown, according to Atlas, appeared like two fighters from entirely different worlds. Though he acknowledged Tank's explosiveness and experience, he cautioned that Jake's size, strength, and reach advantage could turn this fight into a visibly uneven contest from the very start.
They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in a contract, but I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look. Okay, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping, and it made me think. And I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunder Lips. It was Thunder Lips back there. And I thought I had it right, and it was confirmed to me. It's Rocky III.
Greg Hackett, a well-respected boxing coach, voiced strong confidence in Gervonta Tank Davis's mindset heading into the fight. Hackett explained that Tank isn't swayed by the noise, media buzz, or Jake Paul's heavy promotion. He stays locked in on the goal, Inside sources from the gym have described Davis as intensely focused and disciplined, showing zero complacency. Sparring partners noted his sharpness, aggression, and drive to push beyond his usual limits. According to Hackett, Tank's mental toughness and preparation prove he's taking this challenge as seriously as any in his career.
You try to keep you fresh, this and that, keep your name hot. You gotta stay in the algorithms. You know, it's just a lot of pressure on fights. And I feel like Tank being at, what is he, 30 years old? And you got kids. See, what people forget about is it come a time in a man's life where he just wants to slow down. You know what I'm saying? We can't all run around like we used to back in the day. I mean, that's tough to do. Sometimes you just want to sit down, enjoy your fruits, and I feel like that could be what he's going through. He want to just enjoy the fruits of his labor and enjoy life. And people don't want to hear that because they feel like you got more work to do. But this is life.
Observers at recent media events noted Gervonta "Tank" Davis's calm, composed demeanor, focused yet unshaken, clearly aware of what's at stake. For Tank, this fight is more than fame or money. It's about making a statement. He wants to prove he can shine on any stage, under any spotlight, without compromising his craft. A victory here wouldn't just boost his legacy in boxing but also elevate his presence in mainstream culture, showing that true skill and discipline can still outshine hype and spectacle.
In the press conference, and you can tell, you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's gonna get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games, don't hit him in the back of the head, don't rabbit punch him, don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson, first of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, you know, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, you know, when you see a car crash. Like, you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road, and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul.
Eddie Chambers, a former heavyweight turned respected trainer, offered a balanced take on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta "Tank" Davis matchup. He reminded fans that boxing history is filled with examples of smaller fighters toppling larger opponents through superior skill and intelligence. Chambers argued that focusing solely on size overlooks the deeper elements of timing, experience, and technique. While Jake's height and reach could give him an early edge, he believes Davis's explosive footwork and sharp tactical awareness can neutralize that advantage. According to Chambers, fights are never won by body measurements but by composure and execution when it matters most. He concluded that although Jake's physical strength is undeniable, Tank's precision, instinct, and ring IQ might make him the far more dangerous man once the first bell sounds.
There's something like this can happen. Like, this is social media, this is what it's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters, you know, actual fighters, some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot. So I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing, what he's created. This is a little great. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is going to feel something from it. And it ain't going to be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that. But he's just going to struggle so much
landing a shot, it's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is moving too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out, but it's going to feel.
Timothy Bradley, the former world champion turned boxing analyst, voiced firm support for Gervonta Tank Davis, boldly calling the upcoming bout easy money for the Baltimore Star. Bradley's confidence comes from the stark difference in their professional pedigrees. He explained that Davis has spent his entire career facing elite, battle-tested opponents who understand the nuances, rhythm, and dangers of top-level boxing, something Jake Paul has yet to truly experience. While Bradley acknowledged Jake's dedication, promotional genius, and contribution to boxing's popularity, he emphasized that stepping into the ring with someone like Tank is an entirely different challenge. Davis's ring IQ, composure, and ability to read opponents set him apart as a natural-born fighter. Bradley believes that Jake's physical advantages will crumble under the pressure of Tank's speed and precision, predicting that the fight will expose the gap between a seasoned professional and a talented, but inexperienced, newcomer to the sport.
You prove your innocence and say that it ain't fixed. Because check this out, Tank ain't gonna lose this fight. Hell no. Tank ain't losing this fight. Too many holes. Man, Jake don't have enough experience. Yeah, man, it's gonna be taking candy from a baby. Jake is missing the rules. See, this is what happens when you don't grow up in the game. When you don't grow up in the game, man, at a young age, this is what happens. You start reading your own press clippings. That's what Jake is doing. Fighting this lower level competition. And now he think he is. Now he think he the man. He ain't the man. You killing me? He is not the man. Oh no. Yeah. False sense of security. Now he trying to pick on small folks, right? And I don't mean that in a bad way. Yeah, I'm just saying size-wise. Yeah, that's another thing, boxing one-on-one. You can't pay attention to size. Hell no, I told y'all it's the size of the heart, right? In that damn dog. It ain't the size of the damn dog, and I told y'all that, man. Yeah, it's the same thing here. And it's about the smartest dog. Tank too smart for him. Tank got too much boxing IQ for Jake, man. It's gonna be easy. Easy. Like I said, man. Tank, please, man. Don't do this to boxing, bro. If it's anything, man, man, we can put together some kind of account for you, a GoFundMe account or whatever, bro. And we can, all your fans can give you $1, bro. So that way you don't be blowing this fight. It's easy, bro. This sparring section. Look, I'm so confused. I don't know what the hell to call this. A circus? Just call it a circus. Just call it a circus. Because, one minute they said, oh, this is the fight.
Paulie Malignaggi, former world champion and outspoken boxing analyst, delivered a sharp critique of Gervonta Tank Davis, arguing that his career has been overly protected and strategically managed. According to Malignaggi, Tank has yet to face truly dangerous opponents who could test his full potential. He claimed that Davis's reputation is built more on spectacular knockouts and careful matchmaking than genuine challenges against elite contenders. His remarks reignited a long-running debate within boxing circles about whether Tank has truly proven himself at the highest level. While many fans defend Davis's talent, speed, and explosive power, critics like Malignaggi maintain that greatness comes from taking risks against top-tier opposition. Still, despite divided opinions, Davis remains one of boxing's biggest attractions and most marketable superstars.
He's trying to clown people, but then he admits that Tank is the biggest name in Western boxing. So doesn't even make sense. Listen again.
Boxing, either the fans have gone down to the dumbest level possible, or the media themselves have gone down to the dumbest level possible for me.
See, so he's already trying to roast the fans and anybody who says Tank's the face of boxing. Basically calling people dumb, right? Oldest trick in the book. But then he says, I understand that Tank is probably the biggest name in the West.
Naming this guy as the face of boxing. I understand we don't have anything. The fact that
I understand we don't have anything. Keep listening.
Maybe this is the biggest marquee name in the West at the moment. Right.
maybe this is the biggest marquee name at the moment in the West. He is the biggest name in the West. Name somebody bigger, right? Point blank, period. So you're off to a bad start. Name calling, then you're acting like you don't understand it whilst mentioning he's the biggest name in boxing, and you're saying it's disturbing. Why is it disturbing?
It's certainly disturbing, but it also shows you that you can make anything into a star at this point.
Recent reports indicate that Gervonta "Tank" Davis may be considering retirement after his blockbuster fight with Jake Paul. Sources close to his camp suggest that Tank's priorities have shifted from chasing legacy to achieving lasting financial security. The upcoming bout promises one of the biggest paydays of his career. Enough, perhaps, to allow him to walk away from boxing on his own terms. Many insiders view this as a calculated, practical move rather than an emotional one. Having already earned world titles and a massive fan following, Davis may feel he has little left to prove. Still, fans are split. Some believe he's genuinely preparing to step away, while others suspect it's just part of the pre-fight hype.
And on what you make. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. And when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. For sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, that's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You'd rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz. He says, the people got your chest out so bad. You're talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates. Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the sideline because you won't fight it. What does that say about Tank?
Showbiz the Adult, a popular boxing commentator and YouTube analyst, offered a balanced take on Jake Paul's boxing journey, highlighting both his impact and shortcomings. He praised Jake for reigniting mainstream and youth interest in the sport, turning traditional boxing events into global entertainment spectacles through his massive online influence. Showbiz noted that Jake's presence has brought millions of new fans to boxing who might never have tuned in otherwise. However, he also acknowledged the ongoing criticism from purists who argue that Jake's opponents have often been smaller, older, or less experienced, raising questions about the legitimacy of his competition.
Boxing is going to sing his praises like a hero. Though Jake Paul is definitely appreciated by the boxing world when it comes to what he is giving to the sport, especially women's boxing. Okay, I mean, it goes without saying that Jake Paul, an MVP, has added to the sport of boxing. But Jake Paul, the fighter, people are over his shit. There's a huge amount of boxing pugilists in the boxing community who's over his shit. And if Gervonta Tank Davis stops that, if he is the one who stops this whole train, knocking out Jake Paul, he will become a boxing hero. People will then say, now get the hell out of the sport. And I'm talking about from a fighter's perspective. That's what they're going to say. Now, it's not going to go on either one of their official records because it's an exhibition. But it doesn't matter because optically, visually, seeing that go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
You gonna see about it.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'9", he's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs, or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Ocean.
Daniel Cormier, the former UFC champion and highly respected sports analyst, delivered a candid critique of the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis showdown. He argued that the fight feels driven more by business interests than by genuine competition. According to Cormier, Tank isn't in financial need, which makes the matchup seem unnecessary from a sporting perspective. He described it as boring, not because of the fighter's talent, but because the outcome appears predictable. In his view, the bout seems engineered to generate social media buzz and pay-per-view sales rather than to elevate boxing's credibility. Cormier's remarks echo the frustration of many traditional boxing fans who believe entertainment-driven spectacles are replacing authentic matchups. Still, his comments underline the modern reality of combat sports, where fame, marketability, and financial gain often carry as much weight as skill, heart, and championship legacy.
I thought it was 190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
he's been a world champion so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by the rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and Jose Sulaiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's the thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates and insights from the world of boxing. Until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and keep your guard up.